Doc, on your chair. On your
Over the course of his career, Johnny Carson welcomed more than 25,000 guests onto The Tonight Show. Most appearances were smooth, controlled, and forgotten the moment the credits rolled. But every so often, the show veered wildly off script. Animals broke loose. Guests crossed lines no one expected them to cross. And in rare cases, even Johnny Carson lost control of his own stage, live, in front of millions. These are the moments that turned late-night television into pure chaos. The 10 most intense, unpredictable incidents in Tonight Show history. The Ed Ames Tomahawk Incident. In 1965, actor and singer Ed Ames appeared to promote his role as Mingo on NBC's Daniel Boone. Wanting to add something visual to the interview, Ames suggested demonstrating traditional tomahawk throwing. The crew rolled out a life-sized wooden cowboy cutout to use as a target. Ames stood roughly 15 feet back and calmly explained how the technique was practiced, gripping the tomahawk with quiet confidence. He pulled his arm back and released. The tomahawk spun cleanly through the air and landed with a solid thunk squarely in the wooden figure's crotch. The audience froze for half a second before erupting into uncontrollable laughter. Johnny Carson doubled over at his desk, completely undone. The timing was flawless. The placement was impossible to ignore. What was meant to be a cultural demonstration instantly became one of the most infamous accidental sight gags in television history. Ames stood stunned, mortified, and trying desperately not to laugh himself. Johnny, meanwhile, could barely breathe. The moment was replayed endlessly, cementing itself as one of the greatest unplanned visual jokes ever broadcast. What made it legendary wasn't just the absurdity, it was that no one could have scripted it better if they tried.
I didn't even know you were Jewish.
Someone blurted out, "I didn't even know you were Jewish," and the room detonated. The audience exploded with laughter, but Johnny Carson completely collapsed. Tears streamed down his face. He gasped for air, unable to speak, frozen behind his desk for nearly 3 full minutes of live television. The camera never cut away. Viewers watched him desperately try to regain control, glance back at the tomahawk lodged in that unmistakable spot, and immediately lose it all over again. Ed Ames just stood there, smiling, knowing there was nothing he could do but let the moment live. Eventually, Johnny physically stood up and walked offstage to collect himself. The segment became instant legend. It was replayed endlessly over the years and even aired again during Carson's final week in May 1992, nearly 3 decades later, and it still brought the house down. Timing like that never ages. The Don Rickles cigarette box ambush. In 1973, Don Rickles stepped in as guest host while Johnny Carson was on vacation. Rickles, fully aware of Carson's habits and pet peeves, decided to set a trap. During the show, Rickles accidentally knocked over Johnny's prized wooden cigarette box, a personal item Johnny guarded obsessively. The box shattered on the desk. Rickles froze for a beat, then grinned. He knew exactly what he had done. The studio audience gasped, half laughing, half bracing for fallout. Rickles milked the moment, playing innocent while making it very clear this was no accident. When Johnny returned and saw the clip, he was furious, but even he had to admit it was classic Rickles. The incident became one of the most infamous pranks ever pulled on The Tonight Show. It captured everything Rickles was known for: fearless, mischievous, and just bold enough to cross a line no one else dared to touch.
This is not your land, you crazy cunt. You're not going to have the land. You stupid man, you're not going to have the land. It's no good.
Oh, Carson's cigarette box. Oh, I broke his box. I broke Carson's cigarette box.
The very next night, Johnny walked onto the set holding the damaged cigarette box. He raised it for the cameras, let the audience take it in, then stared straight into the lens and calmly promised payback. The crowd laughed, assuming it was part of the joke. It wasn't. Johnny was dead serious. And then he did something far more dangerous. He waited. Weeks passed. Then months. Rickles likely convinced himself the moment had blown over. But Carson never forgot. He was patient, deliberate, and quietly planning the long game. When Johnny finally struck back, it wouldn't be loud or immediate. It would be perfectly timed.
Somebody broke my cigarette box. I just started the show. I picked my box up off my desk that I've had for 9 years. My box is broken. They told me you broke it on the show last night.
Well, I really...
You big dummy!
Rick Les froze. He stammered out apologies, visibly caught off guard. Johnny didn't let him off the hook. He snapped back without missing a beat, reminding him, calmly but sharply, that this wasn't about a joke or a scene. It was about a broken cigarette box. What followed was several minutes of rapid-fire, unscripted sparring. Insults, mock outrage, perfectly timed comebacks. The ambush became instant late-night legend, not just because it was funny, but because it revealed something deeper. Johnny's absolute commitment to a bit, and the genuine affection between two men who trusted each other enough to cross lines in public and laugh about it afterward. Bette Midler breaks Johnny Carson. May 1992. Johnny Carson's second-to-last episode of The Tonight Show. Bette Midler appeared alongside Robin Williams, and at first, the segment unfolded exactly as expected. Jokes. Impressions. Stories. Robin was electric. Bette was warm and playful. Then the tone shifted. Bette grew quiet. She looked directly at Johnny and said she wanted to do something just for him. The band began playing One for My Baby and One More for the Road, a song about final moments, last calls, and saying goodbye when the night is truly over. She didn't sing to the audience. She sang to Johnny. Held eye contact the entire time. The studio fell into complete silence. Nearly 300 people stopped breathing. Carson's eyes slowly filled with tears. This was a man who had spent 30 years mastering emotional control on live television. Who rarely allowed vulnerability in front of millions. This time, he didn't fight it. He didn't make a joke. He didn't deflect. He simply sat there and let the moment exist. When the song ended, there was no applause at first. Just silence. Then Johnny stood, gently kissed her hand, and said softly, his voice breaking, "I can't top that." After 3 decades as the most composed figure in television, Bette Midler found the one thing that could break through, not spectacle, not comedy, just a simple song delivered with sincerity at exactly the right moment. The rampant monkey incident. In the late 1970s, a wildlife handler appeared on The Tonight Show to present a monkey alongside several other animals. Rehearsals went smoothly. The monkey perched calmly on her sleeve. Everything seemed under control. But live television is different. The lights are hotter. The crowd is louder. The tension is real. The moment the broadcast began, the monkey launched itself directly onto Johnny Carson's head and immediately urinated. In one chaotic instant, control vanished, and The Tonight Show became something no rehearsal could ever prepare for.
Was he spitting? Was that saliva?